All right, today we're diving deep into the poetic and powerful world of Clarissa Pinkola Estés. We're going to explore her ideas on resilience, on healing, and really get to the heart of the wisdom that comes from our scars. Let's get into it.
So Estés kicks things off with this incredible line from Kafka, and it just sets the perfect tone, doesn't it? It's this idea that some truths are so necessary, they literally have to shatter something inside of us just to let life flow again. It's a beautiful, kind of violent, and ultimately freeing image.
And that right there is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to know you need to break through, but it's something else entirely to actually find the power to do it. And that's really what we're going to be exploring here. So, first up, let's talk about that feeling of being constrained, held back. We're going to look at how our spirit, even when it feels totally trapped, has this unbelievable innate power to just break free. I mean, this is such a powerful image for how life can feel sometimes. It's not one giant problem, right? It's 1,000 little threads, expectations, duties, old wounds, and altogether they form this net that feels absolutely impossible to escape. It just binds you up and chokes that wild spirit inside.
And then, bam, we get this incredible contrast. You have the Lilliputians, who thought they'd conquered this giant with their thousands of tiny little ropes, but for Gulliver, all he had to do was the simple act of sitting up. His own immense strength just made all their efforts seem kind of pathetic.
And that's the whole point, right? This powerful paradox. The bonds we feel can seem so overwhelming, just like that mermaid's net. But our own inherent strength, it's on the scale of Gulliver. The real challenge isn't about breaking each individual rope. It's about realizing that we have the power to just sit up. Okay, so how do we actually find that Gulliver strength inside us? Well, one of the most powerful tools Estés talks about is something ancient, something human, the healing power of storytelling.
And I love the language here, the old way. It tells us that healing doesn't start with some complex, modern therapy or a 10-point plan. Nope, it starts with the most fundamental human act of connection there is, just sharing our experiences. You see, there's a process to this. You don't just dive into the deep end with your biggest traumas. Estés shows us that you start on the surface with what she calls the topographical stories. Then you go a little deeper. And only when that foundation of trust is built do you get to the hair-on-fire stories, the ones that are the hardest to tell and definitely the hardest to hear. And there's this amazing story that brings this all to life. Estés tells of a stonemason, a man who was just physically and spiritually broken by his past. And as they physically built a stone grotto together, they were also rebuilding his spirit, one story at a time, following that exact three-step process. The act of building and the act of telling, they became the same thing.
Now, as this healing happens, something else starts to shift. Your whole perspective. You start to see this sacred in totally new ways, not in perfect, shiny churches, but in the grit and grime of your actual life.
I mean, come on, what a line. This is not the gentle, passive Madonna you see in classic paintings. No way. This is a powerful, protective, almost dangerous reimagining of a sacred figure. It just shatters every conventional idea of what holiness is supposed to look like. And look at this. This image just nails that radical idea. This is a holiness that's worldly. It's fierce. It's protective. She's not removed from our struggle. She's right there in the thick of it, a leader for all the people who need her the most. And that idea connects right back to this quote. The sacred isn't something separate that you go visit on a Sunday. It can be found right under the hood of a car, in the smell of gasoline, even in using crankcase oil for a baptism. Holiness is in the work, in the messy, greasy reality of just keeping things running. So if this sacred feminine is all around us, in the grit and the grime, then you have to wonder, how does it survive? How does this force endure, even when the world tries to bury it, or ignore it, or just paint over it? Wow. I mean, the imagery here is just breathtaking, isn't it? It speaks to this indestructible, resilient spirit. It's not just an idea or a statue, it's a force of nature, a part of the earth itself that can never, ever be fully erased or forgotten by the people who carry her in their hearts. And she gives us another incredible way to think about this resilience, the shirt of arrows. Instead of seeing someone who's being attacked by skeptics as just a victim, they're seen with admiration. They're seen as someone wearing their wounds. The arrows aren't a sign of defeat. They are a testament to everything that person has endured and survived. And if you want a story that pulls all of this together, look no further than The Black Birds. Estés worked with these young, incarcerated women. And through sharing poetry and stories, they found their voice. They even took this incredibly harsh curse word, and through this creative process, they transformed it into a hieroglyph for mother, totally reclaiming its power and finding the sacred in the most profane place imaginable.
Which brings us to the final, and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. How our wounds, the very things that we think break us, actually become our greatest source of wisdom and strength.
See, this is the big shift. The point isn't just to get back to who you were before. Surviving trauma can make you more alive, more connected to what really matters. The scars aren't defects. They're the marks of a wisdom that you could only have earned the hard way.
And there's this beautiful Latin word she introduces, memoretur. It's not about just remembering something in your head. It's a knowing that has been written directly onto your being through experience. It's a truth that becomes a part of you, eradicable, unshakable, learned in the dark.
And this is where it all lands. This beautiful, profound idea that heartbreak isn't just an injury, it's an opening. A heart that's been broken and is healed doesn't just seal back up, it stays open. And this new openness deepens our ability to feel compassion, to see the pain in others, and to see the sacred, to see her in the world all around us.
And so, we end by turning this all back to you. The entire journey of this work is about finding strength not by avoiding wounds, but by understanding what they teach us. So the question to leave you with is this: what is the ineradictable truth, the memoretur, that your own scars have written on your heart?